Halloween is my favourite time of the year. Christmas, Easter, and Valentine all fail in comparison to Halloween for two simple reasons. One, Halloween films, witches, wizards, and ghouls are the best, and no one can argue otherwise. Who needs real people and reality? Number two, Halloween specials. Your favourite characters seen in spooky and normally non-canonical specials. They always made my year when I was younger. And Halloweentown was one of my favourite Halloween movies, year in and year out, when I was really young. Halloweentown is a place I dreamed of living as a kid. It's a town where it's Halloween all the year round. I will note the CGI might be atrocious and the costumes concerning. We will ignore that because the film was made before I was born, so we're being kind. The movie starts off at the Cromwell house. Apparently no one goes to their house because they don't decorate, but Sophie, one of the Cromwell kids, keeps insisting someone is coming, which I found really creepy, and everyone just ignored her. I'd be slightly paranoid, but that's just me. The main character, Marnie, is begging her mum to go to a Halloween party, but for some unknown reason, her mum hates Halloween.
Look, Marnie, I am sorry, but you are not going out on Halloween.
Why?
I have my reasons, and I will explain them to you when you're taller.
Marnie is the oldest of three children. She has a younger brother called Dylan and the youngest, Sophie. Dylan is a know-all and Sophie is 5. After Marnie and her mum, Gwen, argue for a while, they cut to the street to show a magic bus flying down and dropping off an old lady. She descends from the bus like some form of Mary Poppins with an umbrella with her bag that follows her around. How did no one notice a bus fly down and a woman basically fall out of it very slowly? The streets were full of children at the beginning of the movie. Where did they all go? Sophia and their mum start arguing over cookies, and then their mum refuses. The daughter turns around to pout. As she's turned around, a cookie starts flying towards her. You know, normal kid stuff. And the mum stops it and grabs the cookie before Sophie notices. Turns out the old lady that was mentioned earlier is called Aggie, and Aggie is their grandmother. There is instantly tension between the mum and the grandma. You could cut the tension with a knife. It was unsettling. The kids are actually happy to see their grandma. She has this, again, Mary Poppins bag, opens it and starts pulling out all skeleton and a lot of sweets. Marnie starts talking about all the weird stuff that happens in their house to their grandma. Weird stuff such as Marnie having constant deja vu and stuff falling whenever Sophie throws a tantrum. Their grandma goes to answer all the questions, but the mum stops them and sends the kids to bed. Grandma reads them a book about a place called Halloweentown, and the mum, furious, calls her downstairs. The mum accuses Aggie of only coming to the human realm, stir trouble, and to try and make Marnie a witch before it's too late. But Aggie reveals she's actually there because people back home have started disappearing. Gwen thinks her mother's being ridiculous and kind of ignores her, but Aggie insists that it's a real problem and asks for her help. Gwen declines and says no. Then Aggie then throws what I can only refer to as an adult witch version of a tantrum. She starts using magic willy-nilly, changing stuff just to annoy her daughter, such as turning an entire bowl of fried chicken into a live chicken. Marnie was eavesdropping and saw all of this and heard about how her grandma was talking about all of them being witches, other than Dylan. Marnie goes upstairs to tell her brother and sister. Sophie is asleep and Dylan does not believe her. I mean, understandably, I would think someone was crazy too if in the middle of the night they woke me up from my sleep to tell me that they were a witch. I would assume that maybe some of the candy grandma bought them had psychedelics in it. They both see their grandma leaving with her bag following behind her like a dog. Dylan tries to reason it away by saying it must be remote controlled or something. This kid is not fun in the slightest. I don't know why Disney decided to give a 10-year-old the personality of a 40-year-old, but he gets really annoying really quickly. So from this point on, he's just child number 2 because I don't like him. His name rights have been revoked. Marnie and number 2 decide to follow after their grandma to the bus stop. They sneak through on the back. Child safety is apparently not taught until the 2000s. They don't even know where their grandma lives, they don't know where they're going, they don't know what stop she gets on, but they just get on at the back. The bus then starts flying through the clouds, and number 2 tries to reason it away again, saying, oh, it must be fog or something, like they are not flying. After they arrive in Halloweentown, Aggie does not see Marnie and number 2 and goes straight home. Whilst they are looking around for their grandma, they find their sister Sophie. Marnie asks what she was doing there. Sophie says, oh, she was only pretending to be asleep. She heard everything Marnie and Dylan told Dylan and followed them. There was not that much room at the back of the bus. Where was she? They all begin to look for Aggie, who they lost when they got off the bus. Then they are approached by a man who calls himself Calabar. He says that he's the mayor of Halloweentown. The kids take it at face value and don't question him at all. And then they get into a cab that he calls for them and sends them to their grandma. grandma's house. Apparently stranger danger also did not exist until the 2000s. The cab is being driven by a skeleton called Benny. Don't ask me how he drives with no eyeballs. Concerned at how low the bar for a driving license is in Halloweentown, never let your lack of eyeballs stop you from living your dreams. Benny then takes him to Aggie's house.
Well, here we are. Shay Cromwell.
Cool. Thanks for the ride. Do you take dollars?
Don't worry about it. Catch me in the next life.
Thanks.
So yay, luckily they weren't kidnapped. They arrive in their grandma's house, and against her, better judgment that she knows her daughter's going to be furious, she lets the children stay there. She says that she'll start Marnie's witch training, because if it's not started by the end of the 13th Halloween, then a witch will lose her powers. She tells the kids that she has to take care of the bad thing that's attacking their town first before they can do anything else. She shows her grandchildren what she's talking about in a cauldron. She shows a shadowy creature, tells the kids her plan to deal with it, and then they go into town to get the final ingredients for this. This is where they meet Luke. Marnie instantly finds Luke annoying, understandably. She then insults him after he hits on her. Earlier in the cab ride, Benny mentioned how Luke didn't always look as good as he does now, and he used to look different until Luke met a shadowy figure and it made him handsome. I don't know how Marnie and the other kids didn't connect the two, the creepy guy in the cauldron kidnapping people and making them evil, and someone powerful enough to change someone's physical appearance. Aggie allows Marnie to get her first broom, and the two go flying off brooms. Seem like the most unsafe way to travel. There's no seat belts, there's no airbags, nothing. Gwen then arrives and accuses her mother of kidnapping her children, but no, you just weren't paying attention to your 3 children, and somehow a 6 to 13-year-old left your house without anyone noticing. She brings her kids to the bus stop and tries to go home, much to Marnie's objections. Gwen can't get another bus home, so then she goes to find the mayor to ask for special permission to go home. The kids are shocked to find out that the mayor, Calabar, was their mum's old boyfriend. Gwen and the kids see Maggie walking somewhere with Luke out of the window. They all get concerned that she's in trouble and they follow her to an abandoned movie theatre. The movie theatre is full of frozen monsters. As the rest of the Cromwells enter the building, they find Aggie and the shadow monster arguing. Gwen tells Marnie to keep her younger siblings back and then covers Luke with flowers to try and stop him. The shadow demon then sucks some random guy into the movie screen and we never see him again. The demon freezes Gwen and Aggie. Aggie tells Marnie and the others to run. I don't know why the demon let them. They then discover the demon does not like sunlight, which is never brought up again because we see him in the sunlight near the end of the movie. Sorry, spoiler. Marnie, number 2, and Sophie flee the movie theatre and decide to head out shopping to get the rest of the ingredients for the spell. Shopping is what they call it. I call it terrorizing the town folk. They needed 3 ingredients. 1, the hair of a werewolf. They shaved a massive portion of this poor, unsuspecting werewolf hairdresser, leaving him in borderline tears. 2, for the sweat of the ghost. They almost melted a man into nothingness, and Sophie did a ghost impression, which is very offensive to the ghost. And 3, for the fang of a vampire. They rob the tooth fairy. So assault, theft, ghost endangerment, and offensive language all in one afternoon. They are menaces. After getting all the ingredients, Benny offers to give them a ride, but Sophie senses that the demons got to him and made him evil. Sophie releases a nearby dog that chases after Benny, causing him to speed off. I'm pretty sure that's another crime. They then return to the house. Marnie and Sophie are able to light the talisman, and number 2 just stands there criticizing them the entire time as if he was any use. And the 3 other siblings head off to go save their mother and grandmother. They arrive back at the movie theatre trying to unfreeze Gwen and Aggie, but it doesn't work. Marnie then realizes that the light talisman must go in the large jack-o'-lantern. They head to the jack-o'-lantern. Marnie is stopped by Luke, who tries to warn her that it's a trap. He explains that he didn't know that would happen to her grandma, and he feels remorseful. The demon appears and reveals itself to be Calabar. Who would have guessed? There's only like 5 people in this movie. It was going to be the only other speaking role. Calabar tries to rally the residents of the town to side with him against the Cromwells and the mortal realm, so they can reclaim the mortal realm from their self. Some of the townsfolk start agreeing with him, which is understandable after the Cromwell kids ran around this peaceful town committing at least 5 crimes in less than an hour. As I mentioned earlier, remember that hatred of sunlight? Doesn't have it anymore. Marnie gives Luke a cloak and he uses him as a decoy so that Marnie Marnie can slip past Caliber and put the talisman into the jack-o'-lantern. Caliber finally notices her and tries to freeze her. He really could have done this earlier, when they win the theatre. Just as she's about to pass out, the talisman drops from her hand, lands into the holder. It lights up, unfreezes Aggie and Gwen, as well as the rest of the Halloween townsfolk who were frozen in the theatre. The monster man didn't return though. Tough luck, I guess. After they awake, Gwen and Aggie rush to find the kids. Marnie tells them it was Caliber who basically reveals the reason he hates humans is because Gwen ran off with one. It's been a decade. Gwen, Aggie, Marnie, Sophie, and number 2, with apparently a warlock, band together to defeat Caliber. And he just disappears. I'm pretty sure they killed him at the end. A nice little family trip to commit murder is what they did. What happened to a fair trial? The Cromwells are apparently just judge, jury, and executioner. I know he tried to take over the human world, but at least he didn't kill anyone. Who's the real villain? Gwen decided Marnie is allowed to be a witch. Personally, I don't feel like this ending is realistic. If anything, this whole series of events just proved her point that being a witch is too dangerous. Amanda is now dead. Continuing on the unlikely reaction that Gwen would have, she also invites Aggie to come live with them. The film ends with the family boarding on the bus to the mortal world and them all flying off almost immediately after everything happens, and all the townsfolk are cheering, probably because the Cromwells are leaving, so no one else is going to be terrorized. Oh, and Luke reveals his real appearance, which he just has a bigger nose. This town must be so confused. Firstly, these 3 human children appear from nowhere, terrorize the town, committing multiple crimes, then kill the mayor, and then just leave. And that's been Halloweentown, one of the best movies of the 90s. No one can argue with me. Hope you enjoyed. Leave a like. Bye!